Hey guys, what's going on? It's Steph here. Hope you've been well. I know I have. So a lot of you have been waiting for this series of videos to start, and I am so happy I can finally share the footage with you today. Those of you who follow me on other forms of social media like Instagram and Facebook have already been clued in that I've been using the Nokta Makro Simplex over the last couple of months. I was burning with curiosity to see how this machine would perform in comparison with my other detectors. There were so many claims about how deep the Simplex was, what an outstanding performer it is, that it's unrivaled, that it's the best in its class, that it's higher than the best in its class, that it should be worth 3 times what it is. I had to get my hands on one and see, was it really all just hype, or is it living up to the hype? Without getting too technical right now, yeah, it definitely lives up to the hype. Now, when I filmed the footage that you're about to watch, I was still running version 2.68, as that's the software version that was out at the time. Since then, Nokta Makro has come out with 2 software updates, version 2.76, which completely changed the machine, and I can't wait to show you that in future videos, and version 2.77, which is just kind of a patch update. It adds a mute button to your machine, basically, so you don't get the chatter between your pinpointer and the machine like a few people have complained about online. Now, as my regular viewers will know, I don't do a whole lot of reviews on this channel. It's not generally my thing, but I wanted to do this for the beginners right now because this is a really budget-friendly detector, and I think it's suitable for beginners, honestly, all the way up to advanced. Many of my viewers don't even own a metal detector yet, so I just thought this would be a good opportunity to show you something that's a little bit more budget-friendly, but still an outstanding performer. Lastly, before we hop in, you'll notice going through the video that the footage is a little light. And there's a very good reason for that. I specifically took the Simplex out to sites that I have hammered before to the tune of 20 or 30 times with my other machines. I wanted to see if there was anything that the Simplex could sniff out that my other machines did not. Now, I didn't film my first couple of hunts, and I really wish I had. I found an awesome colonial button spill right next to the well of a cellar hole that I have hunted numerous times. The Simplex truly brought that site back to life for me. I was also able to hunt a 1730 property that's still standing before the pandemic got really bad, before we had all these social distancing restrictions. My permission owner allowed me to detect there. I had a really great day, found a bunch of awesome targets, and that was really like the first time I hunted. The button spill was actually after that, but I digress. Anyway, button spill site. I went back there a few times for a couple of hours each time just to see if I can continue pulling stuff out. And that's the footage you're about to watch, or there's a few visits of me going back and seeing if I could pull a few more targets, which I definitely did, one of which was a bucket lister. So without further ado, that's quite enough talking for now. Let's hop in. All right, out of the spot where I've had some luck before, just over the rock wall there is a cellar hole that's really, really hidden, and you can't even find it on any maps. So I found a button spill last week there, and I brought the Simplex out to play again today. I know I haven't filmed with that yet, but I wanted to get to know the machine before I started filming. And I have something pretty awesome in this hole. So I don't think you're going to be able to make it out, but I got a little peek at it. And it's a good chunk of a colonial shoe buckle. I actually, it's funny how things come in waves, because I hadn't found a chape. This is the part that would have tightened onto the leather, and this is part of the tongue. Now, I hadn't found a chape in probably 2 years. Found one a couple of weeks ago, and here's another one. So that wasn't very deep at all. It was about maybe 4 inches. So I'm going to keep looking around here. Maybe there's a frame for me. That would be pretty awesome. All right, back with you on the next. I am so glad I decided to film today. So that shoe buckle chape was right in that brushy area over there. To give you an idea of where I am, trying to make you not dizzy. It's a cellar hole right back there. You can't even see it. I worked this area a little bit last weekend, and I think I just got a nice little bucket lister. I believe this is going to be a tiny, tiny little shoe or knee buckle. Look at how tiny it is. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is so cool. Whatever kind of buckle. Oh my God. I can see that it's complete. It's complete. It's complete. All right, I'm going to brush this off carefully and get right back to you because the last thing I want to do is break this adorable colonial buckle. Let me clean it up and I'll show it to you. Oh, I can't wait. Okay, here's that buckle all cleaned up. It is 100% complete. And this is an old one. I think this is called a stud shape. I'm going to have to look at my books when I get home. But the tongue is fully intact. It is just so tiny. It's got to be either a baby shoe buckle or a knee buckle. I'm going to lean towards knee buckle because truly, I mean, it's not even an inch in width. Whew, I can't believe that. And you know, when I found that shoe buckle shape a few minutes ago, I was just thinking, one of my top bucket listers is a complete colonial buckle, and I finally did it. It's one of those things that was a white whale, well overdue, and I got one today. And this rang up like a low 90s signal. And I have been digging up some flat iron in that range, so I was, but it sounded really, really clear. So that's the differentiation between the iron that's sounding really good in the ground. Just listen for that tiny grunt, you'll know it's iron. And if it's clear, hey, it could be something like this. Absolutely amazing. All right, I got a low 20s signal on the Simplex out here, about 6 inches down, and I can already see the outline of a button in the hole. Where did it go? Anyway, I actually wanted to show you something else first. Got a nice little bonus shard here. Some kind of clay pot or something. But in any event, I just figured we'd pull the button out together. I'm sure that it's Tom bag. It was in this clump somewhere. Where'd you go? I swear I had it. I know I had it, or I wouldn't be filming right now. I saw an edge. Let's bring up the pinpointer instead of messing around for too long. Got it on vibrate. Put it down there. There it is. All right. So let's take a look at what we've got. And it's actually in terrible shape. It's a pewter button. You can kind of make out the cast line right here and where the shank used to be. And this would be the front. I don't know if that used to have a pattern or if that's just dirt. But as I've mentioned in my videos before, you want to make sure you pack this away with dirt from the hole or just in some kind of airtight container where it can't knock around. I've actually been using this coin pad. I even put my little buckle from earlier in there, so I really highly recommend these. And that's how I store my pewter buttons as well. So pretty much anything that'll fit in here. But yeah, cool. That's something I missed before, and that is old. Okay, back out again with the Simplex today. About that way, maybe a half a mile is where I got the complete buckle the other day and the tongue and shape for the complete colonial shoe buckle. Let me see here. Okay, so I got like a high 40s, low 50s number, very solid. And poked around in the hole, found this. It's really thick, but it is not a copper. It's definitely a colonial button. Let's see if there's anything on the front. Nope, doesn't appear to be. Wow, that's a really thick one. That had me going when it popped out of the hole. All right. Yeah, no design. Usually, this is tomback material, given the way the shank is attached and such, but it rang kind of loud, high for that. Might just be because it's thicker, though. So, good 18th century button. Be back with you on the next. Well, after a little bit more wandering, I got a pretty interesting signal. It was bouncing between the 20s and the 60s, depending which way I swung at it. But you can clearly see down there that we've got a little button. Teeny tiny one. And I think it's brass. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. But it's colonial. That's what we're looking for. So you gotta see just where I'm swinging here. That's a rock wall, very crude. And you can barely make out remnants that go down that way and off to a little square that I'm going to explore. So be back with you soon. Okay, so there's the stone wall I was working up against before, where I just found out a little button. On the other side of it now, next to this rock, I always check around low rocks like this because people trip and drop things and set things on them and forget about them, and I think somebody may have tripped right here. I know what this is. Nice colonial shoe buckle fragment. Oh, wow, look how beautiful that is. Oh, man, what a shame it's broken. But you know what? I've been meaning to make a display of my buckle fragments. So you know what? That'll just have to go in the display. That is so, so pretty. Look, you can see a flower right there. Oh, that's gorgeous. And the sun's coming out. Yay, because it's a happy moment. As you know, or you should by now, colonial buckles are a favorite thing to find for me. So that's great. All right, let you know what's next. Out here with the Simplex again today. Back in an area where I found that complete knee buckle and shoe buckle shape right in this area. It's very brushy. I don't think a lot of people have hunted here. I got a really shallow 29 to 30 signal. Convinced it was going to be garbage, but it's not. It's actually a really nice... Wow! I'm just noticing the ship on it now. Holy crap. That's gorgeous. This is a suspender clasp with a lot of gold gilt left, and you can see very clearly some sailboat, and it looks like a lighthouse there. Wow. That's not a bad start. My first hole was a shotgun shell. This is going to clean up beautifully, though. Awesome first find. All right, back with you soon. Well, I got a really choppy signal about 8 inches down. Thought it was maybe going to be a big piece of flat iron or something, but it's not. Took it out, brushed it up, and it's an itty bitty sliver of a button. I have to assume this is tomback, but honestly, I'm not really sure. Very tough to see when you're out in the field sometimes. But appears to be tomback. Most of the buttons out at this site have been tomback. Let's see. The place where I found the spill of buttons is right where the tip of my finger is. And the well is right next to it. You can't really see it, but anyway. So it sounded a little bit bigger than this. I'm going to, recheck the hole and re-swing it because I'm not hearing it with my pinpointer. But it's possible the rest of it is down there. So, hey, it's a relic. Well, I got a super awesome signal about 4 inches down. It was an 88 to 89. Thought it might be my first copper with the Simplex, but it's still pretty cool. This is a really old style ox knob, I believe. That's actually a really nice one. Should be a hole down here somewhere, though. I think that's what it is. I'm like 99% sure. Either that or it's a sword pommel. I doubt it, but that's beautiful. I'm not going to complain about that. Normally the ox knobs we find are just really nondescript and kind of boring, and then you get really PO'd when you open the hole because you thought it was going to be a copper, but I'm not going to complain about that one. That's the most beautiful one I've ever found. Awesome, and I'm working in a really dense area right now. I don't know how well you're able to see it, but it's all vines and prickers. The home site is right up there, maybe 100 feet or so. So I figured I'd try to tear through here where somebody may or may not have swung before. And it looks like nobody swung over this because you can't possibly miss it. Okay, so that's all the hunting for this week. And normally, if you've been following my channel for a while, you'll know this is normally where I hop into the wrap-up. But we're going to change it up this week. I'm going to answer some of your most commonly asked questions about the Simplex versus my other machines and my overall thoughts about it, just to give you an idea of what you could expect from this. Is it better than the EQUINOX? That is such a loaded question, and it's such a broad one. I've been asked so many times if I feel that it's better than the Equinox or better than another machine, and the answer, at least for the Equinox, is no. I don't think it's better than the Equinox. Am I pulling things out that the Equinox has somehow missed? Yes, but then, you know, the Equinox has its high points as well, some of which I'll get into as I get further down the questions. But short answer, no, I don't think it's better than the Equinox, but boy, is it keeping up with it. Again, I also hate this question. I think every machine has its caveats and its high points. You know, I really do like the AT Max, but the sound is very difficult for me to listen to because what a lot of you don't know is that I'm actually hearing impaired. I have what's called recruitment syndrome in my right ear, and in my bad ear, my deaf ear, I can't hear unless it's louder than 60 decibels. So I essentially have unilateral hearing, which makes it kind of difficult to hear signals properly. But it also makes it really difficult to listen to the iron audio that's present with the Garrett machines. I know they're coming out with the Apex, and you're going to be able to turn the iron down and all that jazz, but for right now, I have an AT Max, and the iron audio is very tough for my ears. Doesn't mean it's a bad machine, but I do prefer the Simplex over the AT Max. Oh yeah. It's as deep as everybody says it is. It's not overhyped when it comes to depth. Now, I will say the first few times I went out with this machine, I wasn't really getting anything deeper than maybe about 8 inches, which is okay. I mean, that's kind of what I expected for a machine that costs $339. But it was making me miss my Equinox just a little bit because with the Equinox, I've pulled out targets that are 16 inches in the ground, no problem. Now, those first few hunts were with version 2.68 of the software. Version 2.76, that is a game changer to me. I am pulling stuff between 10 and 12 inches on the regular. So it's absolutely as deep as they say, and I am thrilled with the depth. It is keeping up with the Equinox, no problem in terms of depth. It's actually performing really well for a single frequency machine in iron. In fact, I have been hunting for the last few weeks a property built in 1830 in town that has a lot of trash, a lot of cross-century contamination, but a lot of great stuff mixed in between. Oh, and of course those pesky nails are all mixed in between, and I can hear all of it. But what's nice about the Simplex is that you can reduce the iron audio, which is so important when you're hunting old home sites because otherwise it's very distracting to listen to iron on full blast all day, which is one of the reasons I haven't really been using my Garrett a whole lot. Again, nothing against them. I think they're a fantastic company. But for me, the Simplex has just been working a little bit better. Now, apart from the home site that I have been hunting, I've also obviously been going out in the woods to old foundations, cellar holes, that kind of stuff. And it's picking through the iron no problem. Now, if you compare it to, a lot of the comparisons here are going to be the Equinox because a lot of people have been comparing the two online, so forgive me for that. But in terms of comparing it to the Equinox, you will hear literally every nail at a cellar hole with the Equinox. You're not going to get quite that reactivity or recovery speed and target separation with the Simplex, but you're still going to be able to pick stuff out no problem. Will you hear literally every bap, 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 bap with the iron nails? No, but you don't need to if you're picking stuff out anyway, so it's kind of a moot point. Bottom line, doing awesome in iron. Is the Simplex a beginner machine? A lot of people think so because it's really budget friendly, but I can tell you from using this machine for a few hundred hours now over the last couple of months, it's great for beginners because it is easy to use. I mean, it's really turn on and go if you want it to be, and I love those types of machines. That's why I have a Garrett detector. Actually, I have 3 Garrett detectors. That's why I have an Equinox. So yeah, you can dial those machines in a little bit, but for the most part, they're turn on and go, and I love the simplicity of that. So for a beginner, I think the Simplex would be a great choice. Intermediate to advanced detectorists would also thrive with this machine. I consider myself intermediate, somewhere in there, not quite advanced. I've only been doing this for 3 years, but as you know, I get out a lot, especially if you follow me on other forms of social media. You know I'm out like every 2 or 3 days. So I have a lot more hours in than most people would at 3 years, but you know, I'm not somebody who's been detecting for 40 years. To be honest with you, if somebody didn't tell me the cost of the machine, I would say it would run anywhere from $600 to maybe like $750, somewhere in that arena. And that's based on performance alone and all the bells and whistles that come with it. If I could change anything about the machine, what would it be? Number one, I have a couple of wants, but the biggest one for me has to be the headphones, okay? I love these headphones. They're incredibly comfortable. I can wear them all day. They're nice and light, and they're very high quality. They're probably covered in dirt right now, as they should be. Oh yeah, there's the dirt. I've been using them a lot, but very comfortable, nice squishy top there, but with this top, I have noticed that, I don't know if you can really see it, but I'm already scratching it quite a bit because when I hunt, you know, and I'm in the middle of the woods, I'm not always being aware of if there are branches overhead, so I'm scratching them a lot. So over time, I might need to replace these. And I'd also really like it if there was a way to collapse these down, because you can't really do anything in terms of collapsing them down. I have some other Bluetooth headphones that I don't like as much as these, honestly, but they do flip, you know, like that, and they lie flat, and you can put them in a hard shell case. So if I am hiking 2-3 miles in the woods, it's nicer to have the idea of putting these in a hard shell case than wearing them around your neck, especially because we're starting to see mosquitoes and biting flies and all that fun stuff. So you know I'm going to be caked in bug spray with the highest DEET content I can possibly find. And with that, you can damage anything that's porous that touches your skin. So I've actually damaged a couple of pairs of headphones that way when I wasn't paying attention. I didn't let the DEET dry well enough. And sure as anything, it kind of ate through the material. So that concerns me because I'd rather not, you know, walk around like this knowing that I'm eating through the headphones, but also hanging them over the detector when I'm in the middle of the woods and hiking quite a ways isn't exactly practical either. Now, this is being very, very picky, but I just kind of wanted to give some constructive feedback on the headphones. Other than that, these are brilliant. Now, in terms of the detector itself, a couple of small changes that I would love to see in the future. Number one, the lower shaft, okay, you can see it has these numbers, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just so you can tell when you collapse it down where you were, so when you expand it out again, you're able to very simply get back to where you were. That is not so with the upper shaft, and frankly, I'd love to be able to put this in a hiking backpack because it does collapse down to, I think it was like 25 centimeters or something, so about 2 feet. But that's only if you were to collapse both of parts of the shaft. So the fact that I don't have any markers up here to let me know where I was if I do choose to collapse it completely is a bit of a bummer there. But besides that, I really can't complain. Lastly, and again, this is really nitpicking here because it hasn't happened a lot, but this cap, which is where you would plug in your charger when you're going to charge, or you're plugging in your hardwired headphones if you want to water hunt, it comes out very easily, as you can see. And the concern with that is I have gotten it caught up on some branches before and it pops off pretty easily. Not to mention, I don't know how long this rubber piece right here will hold up because you're going to be bending it back and forth to and fro a lot. Especially if you hunt, you know, some people hunt every day for a few hours and you want to charge your machine up at night for a few hours. You're going to be removing that quite a bit and it's going to weaken over time. So I kind of wish that were a screw-on cap. I feel a little better about potentially using that in the water. But again, nitpicking, guys. I am nitpicking, but I'm doing it on purpose to try to give you some constructive feedback on my new machine. So I hope I've answered a lot of your questions that have been brewing in your mind about the Simplex. I don't plan to do another really technical video like this on the Simplex anytime soon, but if you have any specific questions, please let me know in the comments below. I will try to answer every comment that I can. Anyone who comments regularly knows that you always get a reply unless I somehow miss it. So I'll be happy to answer your comments there. And if there's enough interest in a particular topic surrounding the Simplex, I'll certainly address it in another video. That's no problem. And as always, if you loved this video, please be sure to go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload a new episode. So with that, stay safe, stay healthy, and we will see you next week.